been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I ought to slow down, standing in the pouring rain.
All right, what's going on, guys? It's Tristan and Tony with the Zero Duck 30 podcast. Today we got on Brandon Thompson. He's a Florida duck hunter and hunts all over like all of us crazy duck hunters. But Brandon, we're gonna get into some cool stuff tonight. And he's a guy that we've been following for a long time, and we're happy to connect with and talk some waterfowl. So, what's going on, Brandon?
Not too much. Just hanging out. I'm actually in my garage looking at this mess that I need to clean up, you know?
Aren't we all? No kidding.
Goodness gracious.
Well, Brandon, I guess just kind of to begin, can you tell everyone a little bit about who you are and where you're from and, what got you into hunting? When did you get into hunting? That kind of thing.
So, of course, my name is Brandon Thompson. I am from New Smyrna Beach, Florida, which is the shark bite capital of the world.
Yeah.
Born and raised beach town, elementary school, middle school, high school. Went off to the military for a little while. Came home, and once I came home, I was, like, man, I need a hobby. I need to do something. So at the time I was doing AC work, and I was like, man, I really want to hunt. Like hunting is like something that I've always wanted to do. I fished a lot, fishing. You can always go down to the river with, your uncle, your cousins, put a piece of shrimp on, as long as you got a leader and a weight and a leader, you'll catch you a catfish, you'll catch you any type of fish in the river, as long as you got some bait. Right. So everybody grows up fishing. So hunting was just something that I never got to connect with personally, because my grandfather and great grandfather had already passed, and I didn't know too many guys that actually were really, really into it. Specifically black guys, especially in town. Sure. So I was like, you know what? I had at the time I had a bully, and I still have her. She's an American bully. Her name is Pearl. I bred her twice, so she had a litter, and when she had that litter, I ended up selling a couple pups. But I took some of that money, and I bought me a bow. But with me buying a bow, I had one of my buddies. I was like, hey man, listen, I'll sell you a dog, but if I sell you a dog, will you teach me how to shoot a bow? And he was like, yeah, for sure. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm not going to sell it to you for what you think I'm going to sell it to you for. So, don't worry about all of that stuff. Just, you want to teach me how to shoot a bow. That's all I need to know. So, ended up, long story short, I showed up at his front door at about 9:00 at night. 2-3 weeks later, I had a target. I had a PSE stinger, and I learned how to shoot bow that night, man. And I was just that eager to learn and want to get out into the outdoors. That guy's name is Howard Douglas. He is very near and dear to my heart, man. He got me all the way into hunting, like as far as like, being serious about it, learning how to track the deer, put a camera out. If you got a certain area that you want to put a plot out, put you a plot. Maybe even if you're on private and you can put corn out, put you some corn. He just basically introduced me to hunting. So as far as getting in the whole outdoor world, that was my introduction to it. And that's basically who I am, man. I grew up in a little surf town. Never hunted all the way through high school, middle school, elementary school. I did a little small game with my uncles, like squirrel hunting and stuff, but was never really serious into it because I didn't have a mentor. So I was about 23 when I first bought my bow. So about, I say almost, 10 years now. Yeah, 10 years.
That's awesome, man. Oh, did we lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay, my bad. No, I the whole thing about Zero Duck 30 backstory and stuff is, me and my dad wanted to get into this and just kind of like share, not that like we're super knowledgeable people, but we just share like the information we've learned and stuff. And I've always felt so fortunate because I was lucky enough to have my dad growing up bow hunting and stuff in Illinois. Got me into that at a young age. And, like you said, having a mentor, most people, it's so hard to find that, So it's cool that you got that, man. And I've always been super thankful to have somebody like my dad to, learn from. It's not everybody has that.
No, amen to the Howard Douglases out there. I mean, for real. I mean, I think, those of us that have those folks, we're so thankful. But, it's so important for us to be ambassadors of the sport and be those people to pass on a legacy when we're gone.
Yeah.
And
right.
if you've been hunting for a while now, and Brandon, I'm sure you'll agree with this, is you go through these stages of hunting as a hunter, right? When we first get into hunting, whatever it is, it's kill, 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 dude. I mean, that's all I want to do.
Dude,
like,
if it walk out in front of you, you trying to drop it.
Right, exactly. I think every new hunter should go snow goose hunting, and just get it out of their system, because
no plug, just go out there.
Yeah,
Birds, yeah,
exactly, and but. We all transition into this stage, and it's been fun for me to watch Tristan transition into this, especially a lot lately because of his wife getting into duck hunting. There's nothing more gratifying than putting that smile on somebody else's face. Now, my stepdad used to tell me, he'd be like, I got to tell you something, Tony. I said, what? He goes, there's a limit to this shit. And I go, what? He goes, man, I'm out here helping you and your mom all the time. I don't get to do nothing. He goes, sometimes man just wants to go out and hunt and not take care of some kid and his mom. And I was like, fair enough, and I've had to experience that, Tristan knows sometimes some of my favorite hunts I've ever had are when I just get stuck in those situations by myself. But no, the whole point is that you're in such a great position, Brandon, with some of your accomplishments since you've gotten into hunting, and we're so excited to dig into this tonight. That you have been now a role model to a lot of other people and probably a lot of kids and stuff. So, what is for you? When you're out there and you're hunting in Florida, what's your favorite thing to chase out there?
Man, listen, I will tell you this. So hunting in Florida, it can be aggravating. It can be very frustrating because of the mosquitoes, the heat. If you have any kind of fear of, reptiles, that's it's worrisome. But I will say this, getting in my tree stand and going after a buck by myself on a solo hunt, the only thing that gets better than that is a hunt either solo duck hunting or with a banging crew. It doesn't get no better than that, whether it's in Florida or out of the state. But in Florida, for me, I will say, I don't know, man, chasing a big buck in Florida is a challenge. Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize how much of a challenge it is. I hit a 7-point my very first year hunting on private land. It was my uncle's property. He owned about 15 acres off 40 in Ormond. And I was blessed enough to be able to take that deer with a bow. And I got a doe. Well, I had a doe first, and then I ended up taking that deer, that 7-point, a couple weeks later, like in December. But to say that, I haven't got a buck that size since then. So it's been 9 years since I got a trophy size buck. Now, of course, everybody in Florida, oh man, whatever, if it walk, whatever. But a lot of guys don't realize if you put in the work and you put in, the effort to put plots and to watch these deer grow, if you let them get past 2 or 3 years old, some of these deer are giant swamp deer. Yeah. But get past fact of, we got small bodies. Okay, cool. Well, you're not in an agricultural area. You get what I'm saying? So now you need to provide that to those deer. If you can't provide it to them, you just need to, this deer is on natural protein, his natural habitat. I really can't do too much. There's nothing I really can do because it's too swampy or too wet. Nothing's really going to stick. I just need to chase public land bucks. You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
A lot of guys Florida don't really realize that, or private land bucks, I should say. If you want that trophy, because if you want a decent sized buck in Florida and it's not on private land or somebody that got a big farm and you can stalk across a cornfield like down in Okeechobee and all of that stuff like that, you are gonna go through hell and high water to get your deer in Florida.
Literally.
Like, it's point blank period. I mean, I have not deer hunted nowhere else but Florida, but from what I tell people and from when I talk to them, it seems like Florida is probably one of the hardest places to hunt for deer.
Man, Dad, tell Brandon what you always say about if you can shoot a big buck in Florida.
Well, I'll just kind of to preface that, I've been bow hunting all my life, and bow hunting in Illinois along the Mississippi River Valley, and I've shot a lot of deer with my bow, and I got down to Florida and I'm up for the challenge. I thought, hey, new environment. I'm going to try to learn this and stuff. And, there was years that where Tristan and I were putting in 180 hours in the tree stand in Florida and seeing 2 deer on public land, and it wasn't us putting in the work. And I've got a tremendous amount of knowledge. I don't know everything, but I know quite a bit. I've been doing it for a while, and I got down there and had to learn that game. It's a little bit different game there and stuff, but fortunate for me because of how much of a it is to deer hunt in Florida. And I'm saying deer hunt, not buck hunt, but deer hunt public land in Florida. That's what got me into duck hunting, funny enough, was because, my buddy, I mean,
to turn you off really quick,
dude. I got my butt kicked for about. I got my butt kicked for probably 3 or 4 years, and then finally on the last day of duck season, my buddy Mario, a fellow veteran, he said, "Man, come out here with me to Guana," and on the last day of season, and I borrowed his wife's waders and his wife's gun, and went out there and we shot, I think, like 13 green-winged teal. And they were flying all over, zipping all over the place. And I shot like 3 drakes, 2 hens, I think, or something. And I was like, dude, this is fun. And he goes, bro, this is not how it works. I go, what? He goes, I'm just going to tell you right now. He goes, all those years you've spent in the tree stand not seeing anything? I said, yeah. He goes, you're going to be blessed with that when it comes to duck hunting. He goes, it's going to give you a lot of patience because there's a lot of times we sit here and scratch our heads and our guns never come up, And
yep.
As waterfowlers, we experience all kinds of extreme weather conditions. Stay bone dry and warm with Frog Togs hunting gear. You can check them out at frogtogs.com or at frogtogshunt on Instagram. And so that's what's funny enough that got me into it. It's so difficult. I truly believe that if you are a badass at bow hunting, okay, and I'm going to challenge some Midwestern people here and some Northern people. If you think you're a badass, all right, and we know a lot of them from Cam Haynes to Dudley to Chuck Adams, the list goes on and on, right? Michael Waddell, let's go. If you really are a badass, bring your butt down to Florida public land and shoot a buck that makes the Pope and Young record book.
Well, that's saying something.
I challenge you.
Listen, I won't even say that. Just kill a registered deer in Florida.
Fair enough.
That's 120 inches. That's nothing compared to somewhere out of state. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A non-typical here is 100. I think 125. I think I'm not sure. I don't want to say the numbers, but I know a registered Florida buck is 120 some odd inches or something like that. But that alone, man, it can get frustrating. Like, I love it. I love chasing these bucks, you know what I'm saying, and chasing deer alone before, duck season come in now. And before I was duck hunting, before I got into duck hunting, that's all I really knew. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anybody that was truly into duck hunting. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it was a blessing. It was it was life changing once I got into it.
Brandon, I don't know how it is down there in New Smyrna, but I know like where we lived up in Jacksonville, and we'd hunt like Osceola National Forest and stuff like that. Some spots around Jacksonville and Ocala. And it seems like Camp Blanding was another one, but like the rut is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the rut in Florida is like September, October, isn't it?
The rut is actually the rut is actually, it'll start the week before bow season starts.
So like late August.
No,
No,
the first week of September.
First week of September. Second week of September, guaranteed it's gonna be bucks rutting then.
Yep.
But I mean, the weather here, the
Yep.
weather here is so different that literally these bucks, they'll rut. I mean, they'll chase doe all year long. Like I'll see bucks chasing doe all year long. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, and I see yearling, you'll see the babies and you try to like judge, okay, well, I see a couple babies, a couple yearlings. I try to go back, you know what I'm saying? Try to judge it and, okay, well, when was he born? Well, late October or late January. Like, holy moly. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
well, then, he was rutting in October, November time. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's just different here, even to try to target a buck during the rut, like early September, which you'll get you a nice buck early September, but you got to be out there. And I mean, I don't know too many guys that want to be out 90-degree weather, mosquitoes buzzing.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like that's miserable in itself.
Eastern Diamondbacks at your feet.
Come on now, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
And if you go even further south, you got bigger snakes, you got more lizards, so I'm good right here in Central Florida where I'm at.
That's kind of where I was going with it. Is I remember one year I was like 19 or 20 and I pulled an archery tag at Camp Blanding, which is supposed to be pretty good or whatever. And
Right.
I spent like the whole week, man, just grinding hard. It's 90-degree days, packing a climber in, and I had one opportunity at a doe, and she busted me out of a tree, and I was just so defeated. I spent like probably a good 40 hours in the tree stand that week, 90-degree. So it's tough, man.
Oh, he cut some
tough.
teeth that week. There's no doubt about it.
I bet he did.
So you talked about how you got into hunting and stuff. So how do you transition into a duck hunter? I mean, what got you out there after these crazy birds?
So 4 or 5 years ago, my buddy Jordan, my girlfriend's brother-in-law, he was like, "Hey man, you ever tried duck hunting?" I was like, "Nah, I ain't never tried no duck hunting." And this is his words verbatim. He was like, "This is the most redneck shit you can ever do." I was like, as far as hunting goes, this is the redneck of the most redneck. I was like, man, all right, cool. So let's do it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, let's, I'll try it out. So hunting season started. Teal season had started. I didn't have my waders. I didn't have my shotgun. He was like, "Man, you ready?" I was like, "Nah, I still ain't got this. I still ain't got that." He was like, "All right, cool. You got till November 19th. So I was like, "All right, bet. My birthday is November 11th. I'll buy a shotgun. I get all this stuff ready." So ended up getting everything. We go out on, I'm pretty sure it was a opening day of duck season 2019. And it was me, Jordan, and Jordan's uncle, Uncle John. God bless Uncle John's soul. Uncle John was very, 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 very near and dear to my heart, man. But it was all three of us. So we got out there, and I just never forget getting out on the boat, going to the spot, them boys saying, "Hey man, you got to get out the boat. We're gonna walk to the blind." And I was like, "What do you mean walk to the blind? Like y'all just told me there was gators in the water and all this other stuff. Like walk, I'm in knee deep water and it's pitch black. Like what's going on?" He was like, "Just hold on to the boat, jump out. We're gonna walk to the blind." So we walked to the blind, ended up setting everything up. So now I'm like, dang, this is crazy. Like holy moly. So sun come up, of course we bullshitting until the sun come up. We get out there and throw decoys. They done threw some decoys. So Uncle John was sitting to my right, Jordan was sitting to my left, and Jordan's dad was with us as well. So he was sitting on the opposite side. I was sitting in the boat, Uncle John was sitting in the boat. They were on the outside of the boat, like standing up. So we was in a small John boat. I think it had like a little small outboard on it. So anyways, Uncle John was like, "Hey Brandon," he was like, "You see that cloud way off in the distance? It's probably about 10 or 15 miles off." And I looked and I was like, "Yeah, it looked like a storm cloud coming in." He was like, no, those are ducks. I was like, what?
Whoa.
He was like, that's what divers look like when they come off the ocean. And I swear to you, that was the first time I seen a cloud. Like, it literally looked like a black cloud was moving across the sky.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and it was a ways off. So of course it was small, and then after that really, really big group that came, all we seen was just group after group, V after V after V after V. So Uncle John was like, yeah, you can tell the difference from a regular bird and a duck is because a duck never stops flapping his wings. The only time he'll stop flapping is when he wants to land somewhere. Other than that, he will always continue to flap. So if you see some birds in the distance and you don't know, just keep looking at them. Just stare at them. If he don't never stop, 9 times out of 10, that's a duck. He's like, teals, they fly first thing in the morning. They fly really fast. We call them rice rockets or pocket rocket, whatever you want to call it. It's a rocket, blue rockets. However, they fly really fast. We'll probably see those first. You know what I'm saying? So just kept talking, and Uncle John was just giving me a lot of history and a lot of knowledge. Well, first thing, sun came up, and these teal came around the corner, teal and 2 mottle ducks. And I pulled up, and Jordan said, shoot. I pulled up, and boom, boom, we dropped all 4 of them. It was 4 of us sitting there. So we dropped 2 teal, 2 mottle ducks. And I actually still got a picture on my phone. But they was like, damn, Brandon, that was a good shot, man. That was a good shot. And I never forget that feeling of seeing those ducks come around that corner, barely on the edge of the water, and then as soon as they got some kind of inclination that, oh, these aren't real ducks, they picked up and we dropped them. Oh my God, man, that was the most feeling ever. You know what I'm saying? So,
dude, that's so cool.
yeah, my first time. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't no banger hunt. We sat there, it was quiet for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And after we hit those, that's when Uncle John explained to me about ducks, and we seen all those diver ducks coming off the ocean and off the river, going to clean out their glands, and all of that type of stuff. He was just educating me on.
Yeah.
So my first duck hunt was super memorable. You get what I'm saying? It was with some guys that I still hunt with now. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
Minus Uncle John. Uncle John ended up passing away 2 years ago, but man, when I tell you, that's one guy that he taught me, and I'm very, very thankful for him being in my life the time that he was in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, that's a great just I guess testimony to duck hunting in Florida, man. I'm hearing you tell the story, and I can just picture similar things in the marsh. Those teal come, and ducks in the marsh, man, they just come buzzing around those corners, and and hearing you talk about Uncle John too, like to have somebody sitting there. We were talking about mentors earlier, and to explaining things such as just as simple as the flapping versus not flapping. It's like that's something that a new duck hunter would never know. And I remember when we first started duck hunting, being like, "Is that a duck? Is that a duck?" Like,
yeah.
Well, and that is a great point. I remember one of the first duck hunts, a quota hunt that Drew and I was on. They would take you out on this big trailer, right?
Yeah.
And drop you off at these, and you get this so big of area, maybe it's mile by mile or whatever it is. And we're coming back, and this old man had his granddaughter with him.
Mm-hmm.
And she was probably 12 or something like that, and he's talking to her and stuff. And we're driving by this refuge, and he said, "Look out there, honey." He said, "You see those 2 different ducks out there?" And she said, "Yeah." He said, "See how one of them's butt's in the water and the other one's tail feathers are sticking up?" And she said, "Yep." He goes, "One's a puddle duck, one's a diver duck." And I learned that at that moment.
That's pretty
Right.
I never knew that about identifying them, And so that's great that you had somebody like that could just, help teach you some of the basics.
Yeah, Uncle John, he taught me a lot. This season, I actually got to hunt with Uncle John's son. So Brad is Jordan's cousin, his first cousin, and Brad doesn't even know. He taught me so much this season just about decoy spreads. Like, man, I mean, I hunted with him the first time I hunted with him, he was looking at me like, man, you know more than me. I'm like, no, bro, no. I've only been duck hunting 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still a student to the game. Anybody that has more knowledge than me, 20, 30 years over me, I'm like a sponge and I'm going to soak it up. You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I had to tell him that. And he kind of backed up and was like, you know what? Okay, cool. This what you do. Blah, 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 blah. This, that, and the third. You know, the main thing he was telling me about a decoy spread, I won't say too much because everybody got their own secrets and, you know, their own little spills. But he was just like, listen, you need a landing zone. You need a landing strip or a landing zone. Always remember that. And you want multiple. So wherever you're going to put these decoys, make sure you put the teal and the small ducks with the small ducks. You put the big ducks with the big ducks, and you keep the divers behind those ducks. But within those ducks, put you some lanes so the ducks can actually land in. It was certified true and true. Every hunt I went on, even my solo hunts with just a dozen decoys, when I did that, I had ducks in my decoys, landing in my decoys, and actually a teal, this is no bullshit, teal landed, a damn Drake teal landed in our decoys. 15 minutes before shooting light, it was 4 or 5 widgeon up above him. That teal was peeping at us all morning. I'm talking about we'd peep back, peep, 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 peep. He would peep right back at us. The widgeon that was above him, they was whistling and everything. It was that was one of the coolest things I had ever seen, because like those ducks came in and we fooled them. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
how much fun is it to fool a animal? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, we fooled these guys that make them think like this is a whole bunch of real ducks sitting on the water, jerk cord. We had a couple mojos sitting out there. And, you know, in Florida, of course, a lot of people, they underestimate calling. They think that you can't call in Florida. Well, you can call in Florida. You just can't call as if you're out of state. A lot of out of staters, they love to call. And that's what works for them. But in Florida, we're at the ass end of the flyway. These birds have called that all year. They've been shot at all year long. So to hit them with a quack, or to hit them with a whistle, or to hit them with a peep, or to hit them with this, yes, do that. But if they don't respond to it, turn to it, look at it, anything, you need to put your call down. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that's just what it is. So I actually learned that this season, you know? So Brad taught me a whole lot, you know, and I'm thankful for guys like that, because every new hunter, whether you're duck hunting, turkey hunting, deer hunting, even fishing, bass fishing, going from, and I'll be more specific, freshwater or saltwater, you need some type of mentor to actually help you out and tell you the gray area, because you can learn the black and white off YouTube. But what about that gray area that they don't tell on YouTube that they want you to pay for? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like,
yeah, man.
Why you pay for it.
Brandon, I think it was really important what you said about basically being like teachable, you know, like, you know, me and my dad, you know, he's been duck hunting a little bit longer than I have, since like 2015, 2016?
14, I think.
14. And, you know, I've only been duck hunting for, I think it's my 5th season. So I'm a new duck hunter as well. And, you know, compared to how long we've been deer hunting, it's like, we're pretty new to this game too. And you're always learning stuff. And I think I feel like something about public land duck hunting, there's a lot of like egos, you know, and I think it's really important to always be like open to listen to somebody that knows more than you know?
Well, and I always make the point of, you know, when you run into somebody doing something stupid on public land, I will bet my life 8 times out of 10, they're not idiots. They just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
you know,
they just don't.
They need some help, some direction. They didn't have that mentor, whatever. Now, you can't fix stupid. You're going to get those folks, you know? I mean, you just are. Right. You know, but most of the time, if we all took on a better attitude of being more accepting or helping that person, you create a better environment. If you go help one person, right, and they go, man, thank you, and they have success, they're going to help somebody else, and then they're going to help somebody else. And we call that viral marketing. And that's all we got to do as hunters, is if we do more of that, guess what, guys and gals? When we're out there hunting on this public land, we're going to have less of those silly situations that frustrate us all.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure.
It's funny you bring up the calling in Florida. I learned something about that this year too, man. It was like Thanksgiving weekend, and I got some family down in West Palm Beach, and I'd been talking to this guy just off Instagram and YouTube and stuff. He's been on the podcast a couple times, and he's like, "Well, if you're ever down in the area, hit me up. We'll go hunting." So I told him I was coming down for Thanksgiving. Long story short, and went out and hunted with him. And we're out hunting, and we're seeing some ringnecks and stuff. And I had never, I know like you kind of diver call it ringnecks or whatever, some basic kind of stuff, but we thought they were mottled, and we, whack, 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 just a little, quacking, that kind of thing. And these ringnecks did a big circle and came right in and decoyed perfect. And that was the first time I'd seen in Florida, like calling really work outside like a blue-winged teal,
Yeah, on a ringneck especially.
Yeah, it was weird.
Right. So, I mean, I will say, if you have a big enough spread and you know how to correctly do a diver call, you can pull them from the sky. Like, wow. I'm talking about dive bomb straight down into your decoy spread. You know what I'm saying?
That's good stuff.
And I won't say I have seen them come down. I mean, drop elevation to where it's like, holy moly, these birds look like they want to do it. Or I have seen personally myself diver ducks. They're at shooting range. You hit them with a little call. They do exactly what you said. They turn. All of a sudden, I've had them pass by the spread one time, give me a look, and then turn and give me a second look and land on the water. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I mean, divers are different. So, I would say divers in Florida, you need to call at them. You get what I'm saying? If you got a big enough spread, you should call at them because they will turn. And I mean, a ringneck, hey man, there's between a ringneck and a bluebill, I don't know who got more brains.
And they're also one of the funnest birds to shoot outside of a teal. I love it when you're in the marsh, and like probably one of my most fun moments is getting my head buzzed by blue-winged teal and ringnecks. You're just sitting there, and all of a sudden the cattails come blowing by you, and you just hear, and you're like, bro, we just had 25 just buzz. I mean, literally like a foot above our head.
Yeah, a foot above you. By the time you look up, you looking at ass in. When you turn around and look, you're like, dang, I just missed them. Like, oh my God. But I will say the fun thing about ringnecks and bluebills and, even some teal early season, they are going to turn and come back. Like if they see a good little spread, man, they are going to land right in the spread, So I can't say that's the fun thing about Florida divers. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think, Brandon? So like, as far as, I know you hunt a lot of different spots too. And, it's so weird to paint a picture for like these Midwestern boys or whatever, like, hey, down in Florida, it's not like, okay, you're hunting a rice field in Arkansas, right? Or you're hunting the timber. You're calling these ducks that are like way up, and they're working you pass after pass, and then you finally get them the decoy. So often in Florida, it's such a different game where like you'll be sitting there and you'll be like 200-300 yards off, see some teal or whatever, and then next thing you know, they're 2 foot off the water, and they're in your decoys.
Right.
It's not like this like tornado cloud of working ducks. Isn't like. Can you kind of talk about like, what I'm saying? It's such a different thing, Florida, from like the Midwest, bro.
I get exactly what you're saying. Cause I mean, personally, one of my favorite hunts this year, was in North Dakota. We were on a lot of corn. We hunted on a cornfield. Me and the guys, 247, me and all the boys went up there, and it was a really, really good time. I mean, that was my first time hunting on a dry field, so it was truly magical seeing birds. I'm talking about feet down, damn near land on your blind. You get what I'm saying? It was a couple times we had 500 to 1,000 mallards in our face. You know what I'm saying?
Well, goodness gracious.
That is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, period. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just different because, on a cornfield, it's so flat where you can see 30 miles. You get what I'm saying? You can see as far as the eye can see. So birds that I see coming towards me, it's not a surprise. Even if I don't see them in the sky and all of a sudden they drop down, I see them,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Florida, okay, yes, it's flat. We don't have hills, but if you're hunting in a swamp or a marsh, a lot of these guys don't realize when those birds break down and they're equal level to the mangroves and between the mangroves and the water, you can't see them unless
Mm-mm.
it's a big pack.
Yeah.
It has to be a really, really big flock of birds in order for you to see them. It's almost like they blend in with that dark area that's between the top of the water and the mangroves. So
Mhm.
it's really hard to see birds off from a distance, because then again, some of those birds might drop down into a little swampy, little grassy flat. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those birds jump up from there. They get no higher than the mangroves, come right over those mangroves. Next thing you know, they're sitting in your decoys. So
Yeah, it's
it's
a
like, where these birds come from. It's a total different game. It's truly hard to explain. I would think if anybody's ever hunted Louisiana or Texas, it'd probably be somewhat similar to that. But then again, I don't think so, man, because Florida's just different. Like, it's
yeah.
just the hunt here, especially with the gators.
It is. And I've talked about this before, but this really started with Ramsey Russell for me last year, with getducks.com. And he travels all over the world, hunts 300 days a year. And he says, what he's enjoyed the most is learning the game. He
Right.
goes, when I go to, wherever he goes,
Azerbaijan or
yeah,
something.
Azerbaijan, wherever he's at right now, or he goes, down to Mexico or Australia or wherever it is that he's going.
Right.
He told us about so many different strategies, and these guys only use black trash bags, and that's their decoys. And at this place where we hunt these ducks, we jump shoot them. And this place that we hunt these ducks, we pass shoot them. And he goes, and then we start talking about Arkansas and how you work the birds there. And we were talking about how you hunt the birds down south and Florida. And, the biggest recommendation I think I would give any hunter out there is, if you're looking, like, if you really want to be a badass hunter, like I was talking about deer hunting earlier, seriously, everybody talks about the slam, right?
Yeah.
Well, to go get the slam, you really are a badass, because let me tell you something, especially if you do the slam on public land.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
go and learn all those different games, and I'm talking about, imagine this, I can't even fathom this, but hunting the rough seas in the northeastern ocean bays, going up to Alaska hunting king eiders, and risk. I mean, people say you're literally risking your life up there sometimes, or being in the timber of Arkansas or being down in Florida.
Yeah.
If you can go do all those things and learn all those games, you truly are an expert duck hunter, in my opinion, because I didn't realize all that when I got into duck hunting. When I went to Arkansas for the first time, I was humbled to death, because I went, dude, there's a whole lot about duck hunting I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I still got a ton to learn.
Timber, yeah, the timber is a magical place. The timber is somewhere that I will never not go to every year. Like, my first time hunting the timber, Renard and Daryl and Ricky, they gave me the opportunity to hunt timber with them 2
Uh-huh.
years ago. And man, I tell you what, it'll humble you, but at the same time, it will turn your addiction for duck hunting up to the max.
I agree with that.
Like, I got guys right now that I'm like, listen, buddy, as soon as I get a boat, I'm gonna take you to the timber, and I guarantee you, you won't say anything about no type of duck hunting. I don't care if you hit one duck. Once you see that duck break them trees, come in there and really want to sit down in the decoys. Oh man, I mean, man, the timber is just is magical. Like, that's a place where I feel like if you want to introduce somebody and you got the time and you're financially able to, take them to the timber. Like, first hunt ever, take them to Arkansas. Like, take them to this flooded timber, let them see a bird, let them see a greenhead fall through the trees, and really want to get in there. You know what I'm saying? That'll change your life.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I mean, and part of it is just enjoying and learning, how
Yeah.
people do it. but
Yep.
there is something special about that. And we're not, I mean, obviously as big as Arkansas has been for so many years as being the duck hunting capital of the world and all this stuff, there's definitely something special about that. I mean, there just is. It's a cool experience. And I haven't even had any like great success yet in the timber. We've had some okay success. But I think it's important that if you're going to go hunt anywhere, including the timber, is that you find somebody that can help teach you the game.
You got to know it because, I mean, just to go back what you said, I mean, learning these different regions, learning these different styles of hunting is imperative because, I mean, going from Florida, driving 1,900 miles to North Dakota and, realizing that, dang, all I got to do is call this landowner and I can get, you know what I'm saying? I can go here, I can do this, I can do that, I can go hunt on this or I can go hunt on that. Oh, are you serious? This is a total different game. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You're like, America. Do you want coffee that doesn't suck? Get the Duck. Dirty Duck coffee is made specifically for the waterfowl enthusiast. Enjoy flavors like Morning Wood, Dark Dynasty, Cinnamon Teal Snickerdoodle, and First Flight to unlock the flavor that you'll enjoy in the blind for years to come. Our friends at Dirty Duck Coffee Company are now offering all Zero Duck 30 followers a 15% discount when you use code ZeroDuck15 on your next order.
I didn't know it was a pothole in the middle of that cornfield. I didn't know I can go over there and scout that. I didn't know I can do this. I didn't know I can do that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's imperative for you to learn wherever you're gonna go, whatever part of the country, whether it be the far south, like Florida, deep south, Florida, Georgia, all of that type of stuff, or you're gonna go to the Pacific Northwest, or you're gonna stay in the Mississippi and Central Flyway. These are all different styles of hunting. And to be honest with you, you got to respect each style of hunting because obviously they're successful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For sure.
No doubt about it, man. So, we got to dive into, let's talk about this whole thing with y'all at 24/7. You guys are doing something special right now. I mean, you guys have really, your content is on point. I mean, you guys even got some shoes, man. I mean, what's going on, and how did you become a part of 24/7? And talk about who 24/7 is and what y'all are out to do.
So I became, and well, really, I got met up, or I joined up with 247 Hunt, went to a dove hunt. That's how I met up with the guys. I went to a dove hunt. It's their annual dove hunt they put on every year. I always suggest any and everybody to go. If you ever wanted to meet any one of us, that's the place to meet us at. That's the place to hunt with us at. That's the place to take pictures, ask questions, mingle, eat, just have a really, really, really good time and kill birds for 2 days. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I went to that hunt because, number one, I didn't have anybody around my age to hunt with. I was like, man, my buddy Howard, he's 50 years old. I'm in my 30s. That's a big age difference. At the time he had a heart attack, so it was hard for him to even do anything that year. So they put the invite out. I said, you know what? I'm going to go. So ended up buying a Yeti bucket. I ended up getting a Stoger, because these boys was everything to me. I've never seen a representation like that of my people in the outdoor world. And that was that was everything to me. That was literally everything to me. So I was like, you know what? I got to go meet these guys. I feel like these guys are my friends already. And it was funny because I put a post out and I was like, you got to support your friends even if you don't know them yet,
Wow.
That's great.
So I did that, ended up going up there, meeting the guys. I got them a little gift made and gave them a gift. And Ricky had already been talking to me because I had bought a John boat. And my plans for the John boat was to have it be a duck boat. But of course, when you're not that educated in duck world and the duck boats and what you need and what's essential for you, you might go the wrong route, which I did. I bought an outboard with a long bottom outboard. I don't know how to say it. I'm saying it incorrectly. It wasn't a short short bottom, but it was longer. So I didn't have a jack plate on it, none of that stuff. I kind of redid it just to go fishing and do all that stuff, and then realized I couldn't get shallow, so I sold the boat. And me and Ricky kind of got talking in that time of me building that boat, so we got really cool. So Ricky gave the guys that gift, and he was like, "Man, you was thinking about us, and we was thinking about all of y'all, trying to put something on for y'all. People don't do that, man.
Yeah.
Like that's different. You know what I'm saying? I
Yes.
appreciate it." He was like, "You know what? I'm gonna give this gift to everybody at the end of the hunt." So I was like, "Man, just don't worry about it." He was like, "Nah, I'm gonna call you over." So he called me over and introduced me, and I ended up meeting Addison from Gunner Kennel, and I met Renard and Daryl and Ricky and Uncle Miller and Mr. Waldo. Everybody, it was just a really knit tight circle. I met a couple other really close guys that I was really close with. But long story short, it was a keychain. It was a leather keychain that said 24/7 Hunt on the front, and it was their name on the back. And gave it to him and was just like, I really appreciate what you guys are doing for the community. Like, this is something that we need to see. It's something positive. It's something different, and I really appreciate. I don't have friends my age that I can connect with and go out and do this with wholeheartedly, that are in it 100% like me.
Yeah.
So Renard was like kind of looking at me sideways, and then he walked up to me and was like, "Hey man, what's your phone number?" So he got my phone number. He was like, "You hunting tomorrow?" I was like, "Well, shit, if y'all gonna let me hunt tomorrow, if y'all want me to hunt." So I stayed the second day, and then ended up staying a third day. I stayed that Monday, and I hunted with them. Then I left when I was on the road coming back. Ricky called me and was like, "Hey man, check this out. We see you bought a Stoger. Like, man, you really for the team. You know what I'm saying? We want to invite you to the timber." My mouth hit the floor.
Oh,
Like, I was like,
wow.
"What?" I was like, "You want to invite me where?" He was like, "We want to invite you to the timber. We want you to come on the hunt with us. From this time to this time, if you can come out for a week, just let us know. And man, all you gotta do is get there. You don't have to worry about room and board. You ain't gotta worry about food. Only thing we want you to do is just, try to get, if you can, just try to get some Sitka stuff. You get what I'm saying? That's who we sponsored by." I didn't have a problem with that though. You get what I'm saying? Because I felt like if it was a company that was sticking their neck out for them and that was supporting them, why wouldn't I buy it? You get what I'm saying? So I was like, you know what? Cool. I'm all down for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So ended up, I'll be very honest with y'all, I spent a whole lot of money. I was like, got it. I got the ticket. What's up? And I hit them back. Like, I won't lie. It was like 2 or 3 weeks later. They was like, "Holy shit. Like, you ready? Like, you're really ready?" I was like, "Yes, I'm ready. Let's do this." So from that point on, we're like brothers. I love those boys. They introduced me to the timber, and they changed my life forever. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Those are like my best friends. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't able to hunt with them a lot this season just due to a lot of other stuff. I'm a business owner. I'm a barber. So I own a barbershop here in New Smyrna Beach. So of course, when you own and run a barbershop and own and solely own your business, you got to be in order to pay the bills. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that was one big reason why I really wasn't on the road as much as like the last 2 years, but it will definitely change next season. So man, got met up. That's how me and the guys met up, and it's been history ever since. You know what I'm saying? I go to every quail hunt, every dove hunt. I try to make as many duck hunts as I can. Just being with those guys, I've learned a whole lot. And man, we just have a good time. You get what I'm saying? We have a really good time together, and going places and seeing and experiencing a lot of stuff. I couldn't say if I didn't know those guys, I couldn't say I would be able to experience that stuff. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Sure, man.
I was fortunate enough to take my dog, Odie, his first season. He hunted Arkansas, Oklahoma, Florida, and Georgia. his very first season hunting. You get what I'm saying?
Wow.
He
Dang,
picked up
man.
birds in every single state. You know what I'm saying? So his very first bird he picked up was a greenhead, and it's on film. And I'm very fortunate
Wow.
for
That
that.
is
You
so
know what I'm saying?
cool.
So to meet Jason is a videographer, a photographer for 24/7 Hunt. That is, he's just as well as a brother to me, just as much as Ricky, Darryl, Aubrey. You know what I'm saying? All of
Mhm.
those guys, man. I love those boys, man. For real. Those are my brothers.
Man, I love that, Brandon. I want to get to Odie in a minute because I think that's some fascinating stuff for sure. But we a little backstory, and if people people have listened to our podcast, this is like redundant stuff that we've said before. But so my grandma, right, is she's a big bow hunter. She was, and at one point, Buckmaster magazine named her America's best lady bow hunter, and we'll just kind of leave it at that.
Wow.
And for a woman in the late 80s, early 90s, I got to relate it to, like, you were talking about what they're doing for the culture, right? And
Right.
we've always had a soft spot with women, especially, and yeah, that's one of the things I think is so impressive about what y'all are doing at 24/7 Hunt. But like, to see my grandma, right, go out there and do things that's a man's kind of thing,
Yeah.
I love to hear your perspective on that kind of thing, because it's so similar in a lot of ways, man. Like, it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool to see, like, outside of just like your typical like outdoorsman, you see people getting out there,
Yeah, man. Trust me, it's it's been a lot to overcome. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you be yourself. You get what I'm saying? Like, I always told myself I'll just stay true to myself and stay true to what I want, what I
love
want to
that.
do. I was we all go through times in life where we feel like, we gotta make a change. Like, it's gotta be a change, or, it's either gonna go north or south, either positive or negative, left or right. So at a point in my life, I was like, you know what, man, I'm just gonna dedicate my life to the outdoors. You know what I'm saying? Outdoors, fishing, whatever it is, gardening. My grandmother is 80 years old and runs circles around anybody in her garden. Her garden is
Wow.
acre big, and I'm telling you right now, I promise you, summertime, she will run you ragged in that garden. Like, that's where my green thumb from. So, at a certain age, was going through, some hard times and stuff like that. And I was like, this is what I'm going to dedicate my life to, because unfortunately, a lot of guys that look like me, fall to the wayside to different things. You get what I'm saying? And I just didn't want to be a statistic. I wanted to be different, So getting into the outdoors was something that's not too much different. It just, there's not a lot of history on it that's out there for everybody that we learned. You have to go learn it for yourself. You get what I'm saying? Like, I got pictures in my phone from the 1940s of black duck hunters.
Yeah.
You never see that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah.
if we maybe would have seen that in school, or maybe would have seen that sometime in some type of lesson, maybe it would be a little bit better place, or a little bit better atmosphere for others to get into it, and wouldn't be so afraid or so timid, or stuff like that. But I told myself, this is what I want to do, and I'm gonna learn, and I'm gonna soak up everything from anybody that wanted to teach me. You know what I'm saying? If you
Yeah.
wanted to say something and be genuine and be like, hey, Brandon, check this out. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're not supposed to do. I can take some criticism. I got tough skin. I was in the military. You can't hurt my feelings. Let me know if I'm doing it wrong. Let me know if I'm doing it right. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So
Yeah,
as long
man.
as you go into it with that aspect, you'll be all right.
Well, and Brandon, I think you bring up such a relatable topic. We just talked about something when we had Katie, Tristan's wife, on the podcast about being a first-time duck hunter as a woman.
Mhm.
And
Right.
and I asked her point blank, tell our listeners, what is it like? What's the mountain to climb? What's the intimidation factor? What are all these things? You as a lady trying to get into a man's sport, so to speak, to be the label.
Right.
And
Right.
I think it's so important that the same thing, it's bringing together some segregation, and the fact that, no matter who you are, where you're from, what your race, what your religion, what your color is, anything like that. We all have these avenues to help us get into this sport, you know, and let's just base the facts here. It's been probably just as intimidating for the people of the African American community to feel like they can get into these hunting sports. I mean, I will tell you this though. On the flip side of that, y'all can fish, bro. You all can fish, and I kind of face the same thing as a white dude. I mean, like I met some good fishermen on the Mississippi River that were some brothers, you know, and they knew how to do it, you know. But I think it's an important thing, like you were saying, a part of the mission of what 24/7's doing, and all of that is that, hey man, guess what, bro? I don't care if you're from the inner city, you can come out with me and experience a different life that maybe, and it's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to grow because of what you all are doing. And it's a beautiful thing, in my opinion. You know, I can't do this without bringing up this story is that, you know, the guy that got me into deer hunting was a legend in bow hunting. I know you guys talked a little bit about mom and stuff, but he taught thousands of people how to shoot a bow. And his passion was just shooting, just enjoying archery. You know, but wanted to get him into deer hunting. Well, he told me a story. He goes, at one time, he goes, I took up like 14, 15 guys on public land. And I went up, you know, like 3 days before, I set up all their tree stands for them. And he was just trying to help people out. He goes, and I won't forget, I got this call from a guy named Luther. And he said, he called me up because I never met a white guy named Luther before. He said, and he called me up, this is in the 70s. And he said, Jerry Dale? And he said, yeah. And he said, I heard that you know how to shoot a bow. And he said, well, yes, sir, I do. And he said, well, I want to learn how to shoot it. And he said, well, come on down here to the archery shop and I'll show you. Well, Luther came in and Jerry said, you know, I figured, you know, I just never met a white guy that was named Luther. And he said, and Luther walked in an environment that was just a bunch of white people and came in there and had a passion for learning how to shoot a bow. Long story short, they became best friends. Luther was a very successful lawyer in the St. Louis area. And he went to take them out, those 13, 14 guys, and Luther was one of them. Well, the way that Jerry said, you know, I didn't even hunt for 4 days. I just spent my time helping these guys out. And they didn't have phones and GPSs and all this crap. He had to walk them out to the tree stands, you know. And the last person he had to drop off that morning was Luther. Well, he dropped Luther off and said, I'll be back, you know, come back to this spot this time. And he got done hunting. And Jerry's talking to all the guys, and here comes Luther walking up because he was the furthest out spot. And furthest out that he had to go, I think it was like 2 miles that they had to walk, you know. And so he showed up last, and he is sitting there, and he goes, well, how was it, Luther? And he goes, I think if you don't mind, Jerry, he said, we needed to go to the emergency room. And he said, well, why is that? And he goes, well, you know, he goes, you walked me all the way out there. And he goes, oh my God, I've never walked like that before. He goes, you put me up in this tree stand. He goes, and this deer came in after first light and stared at me and stared at me and stared at me. And then she blew some crazy noise at me. Then she stomped her foot at me. Then she took her paw and started scraping the ground at me. He goes, and I just hung up my bow. He goes, I almost had a heart attack, Jerry Dale. He said, and he goes, and I can't deer hunt. He said, I can't. He said, why? And he said, because I don't think I can pull back my bow. And, but right then he had him hooked, you know, and later on, they got to laughing and becoming some of the best of friends, you know, and I always enjoyed that story as a hunter because not only was Luther bold enough think about it. If you're a white dude and you go downtown Memphis, you're not feeling comfortable. All right. You're just not.
So listen, I'll tell you this, man, because you're very right, man. I did a story for US Today. It's called A New Frontier. It's about African Americans being in the outdoors. And it is an obstacle to face because back in the day, we weren't allowed on public land. You get what I'm saying? It
Yes.
was just issue to be on public land, and then a lot of African Americans didn't own private land. If they did own private land, they got swindled out of that private land. So they weren't able to hunt like that. They didn't have, hell, it was fishing holes that we couldn't even access in the 60s and 70s. Come on now.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh man, to get in the hunting world with a gun and with, somebody, it's like, it's very intimidating. But if you got guys like me, you got guys like Luther, that's like, you know what? I want to do this and I'm going to do it. You get what I'm saying? I don't care what you got to say. So go back to it. I'm sitting in the boat with Uncle John. Now, this is the first time I'm duck hunting. And I actually came back and told my girlfriend this story. So I'm sitting in the boat. We're coming back from the hole. And we was just on like a little 14-foot John boat. Like I said, with an outboard on it. We're coming back in. It's 4 of us on the boat. Me and Uncle John on the front. Jordan and Tom on the back. This other boat came like right beside us. And they kind of came on the side. They had a little mud motor, little damn long tail on the back. But it was a nice boat. It was a long tail, and they had probably about 6 guys on this boat. When I tell you they rode past and they looked at us, they looked not at us, they looked at me as if like, man, what the world are you doing out here?
Right.
Lord, strike me if I'm lying. Uncle John looked at them boys and gave them boys 2 middle fingers. I'm talking about like, you know what I'm saying?
He gave him the double backflip, bro.
I'm talking about the biggest 2 middle fingers. Like, who are y'all looking at? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uncle John looked at me. He said, as long as I'm living, you can come out here any day you want. Don't let nobody stop you from doing nothing, Brandon. You get what I'm saying?
That's
always
man.
had, from that point on, I've always had the most confidence. And, it's not about race. It's not about religion.
No.
It's not about none of that. It's just about, are you a good, ethical duck hunter or a hunter? Are you a respectable hunter? You get what I'm saying?
It's culture. Just like we experience.
Culture. It's a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? I'm in this lifestyle. I'm in it to win it. I'm in it to the day they put me 6 feet under. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care. It don't matter. If you're going to break bread with me, we can go out in these woods. We can fellowship. We can have a good time. Man, listen, I don't care what you look like. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Brandon, don't you agree? Like, one thing that you and I share in common without even ever talking military ever together is that, one thing I learned real quick, I got stationed on an aircraft carrier, and when you are in the military, you're stuck with everybody, and they strip you of everything down to, okay, I'm basically nothing. All right, I'm a shaved, bald-headed person, and I'm no better than the person standing next to me. And one thing I learned real quick, and this is from a guy that our partners at Huntwise are offering an exclusive discount for Zero Duck 30 followers. As an elite member, some of the features you'll immediately gain access to are Huntcast, Windcast, peak kill times, property lines, owner information and phone lookup, 250 map layers, unlimited offline maps, 3D maps, social media, and on top of it all, save up to 50% on some of the top hunting brands in the industry. Download and explore the #1 hunting tool set today and save 20% by using code DUCK30. A white dude in the middle of a cornfield. I didn't even know there was different races of Hispanic. I had no idea. I mean, that's how uneducated I was. But the point I'm making is when you get together with people from different cultures and different color and everything, guess what? There was more white dudes from Texas that I wanted to punch in the face than anybody, dude. I'm not lying. I'm not lying, dude. I mean, one thing that we all become brothers and sisters in the military, and it really comes back from what culture. What was your culture, and how is that culture relatable to my culture? And so what we're all doing is we're really kind of bridging that gap at that level.
doing. That's it. That's all we're doing the whole time. You got to think about being in basic and AIT. You're like, man, this dude's from El Salvador. This guy's from Africa. I'm from America. Then my other buddy's from Texas. Then my other buddy, he's from New York. Holy moly, my whole squad's from a whole different, like, we're all from different places. We have no choice but to get along.
Yeah.
Why? Because my battle buddy. If I go to war, he's going to be looking after my back. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if everybody looked at it in that aspect, man, this country would be it's already the greatest country. It would be even greater. You get what I'm saying? Like, it would be great, man. Like, it would be a great place, but it just takes time. It takes effort. You know what I'm saying? And it takes positive, motivated people to make change. You know what I'm saying?
Man, especially in the hunting community, it's like if the duck hunting community, and I'm not even talking about like any sort of type of people or anything like that. The duck hunting community as a whole on public land, it's like we're not everybody, but there's a certain portion of the public land duck hunters that are like enemies with each other. And it's like we're like statistically a dying sport, whether it be deer hunting, duck hunting, whatever it is. So it's like, shouldn't you be my best friend?
Right.
Shouldn't I be?
Well, guess what? We all continue to overpower that.
Mm-hmm.
And we keep putting the positive word out. I mean, whether it's 24/7, Dr. Duck. I mean, so many great people that are putting out a good positive message. If you continue to do that, we will squash that, and we will change the whole dynamic of what we're doing in the hunting world.
Yep, you're very right about that. You are very right.
It's going to change. It's going to change.
Have no choice, man. It don't have a choice but to change. You know what I'm saying? Like, just a Florida fact. I mean, it's only 14,000 duck stamps sold in Florida.
Wow.
Period. Out of 21, I think it's 21 million people, and then out of 1 million registered hunters, there's only 14,000 duck stamps sold. So, I can go to any boat ramp in Florida, and somebody, if they know of 247 Hunt and they see me, they'll probably be like, "Hey, man, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, buddy?" It's not real. It's not because of Instagram. It's just because duck hunting, the culture is that small in Florida. I tell people all the time, like 14,000. That's not a lot of people. 14,000 people. That's if you can put all them people in a damn college in a college stadium, and I'm not talking about a D1 college stadium. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's nothing, man. So as long as we stay positive, we always trying to be conservative and into conservation of duck hunting, and put leave a positive footprint, and you'll be good, man. We'll be good. We'll be A1, and just kind of squash the negative. Negative always gonna be there, because you're gonna have positive and negative, just like you got left and right, like you got up and down. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you just gotta learn how to kind of leave the negative out. I'm still growing and learning how not to respond to the negative. You get what I'm saying? I just kind of act positive with a positive note. You get what I'm saying? So it's gonna happen, man. It just everything take time. That's all it is. Everything takes time.
Man, I wanted to, we don't want to keep you too long tonight. We'll respect your time, but man, before we get to Odie, I wanted to talk about, some Florida duck hunting stuff, in particular, the video you did with Florida Fish and Wild. I think you know the organization, and
Florida Wildlife.
Yeah, man, and I just thought that was so impressive, and I know you're close to Travis Thompson, just from seeing the posts and stuff that y'all post together, and we've had Travis on the podcast, and he threw a number out there. You talk about 14,000 duck stamps sold in the state. The Pittman-Robertson Act, we were talking about this, and I might not have this 100% correct, but maybe you might know. But Travis was saying that, like, look at a state like Mississippi, right? They might be getting 80 million through the Pittman-Robertson Act. Right. He said the state of Florida is only getting 7 million on average per year through that act because of, your stamps sold, your ammo, all this other stuff that's sold that contributes to that. And he said that the thing that kind of saves Florida is the tourism. There's a certain tax set up for the outdoor, that basically 400 million of the revenue that goes to funding FWC, boat ramps, all this crazy stuff comes through tourism. And you know, you bring up 14,000 duck stamps. That's nothing, man, compared to these other states. And like, Florida especially is a state, man, that's, you know, we talked with this a lot with Travis. It's just a state that's being targeted hard with so many people moving there and stuff. And I guess that's a good segue to kind of get into the video you did promoting Florida outdoors, you know?
Yeah, so Florida Wildlife, they got in contact with Travis, and Travis got in contact with me, asked me if I would be a representative for the state of Florida to basically get more minorities and more women into duck hunting. More women, more minorities, and more anglers, specifically more anglers to, you know, look into duck hunting, just because, you know, we only sold 14,000 duck stamps. So Travis got in contact with me, and I was just like, yeah, man, let's do it. You know, I thought it was something positive that the state of Florida needed to see. You know, I can be a representation of, you know, a little young boy that might look something like me, you know, to get into the outdoors, or even for women, you know. So, like I said, you know, everybody knows how to fish. Everybody can go out to the creek, or, you know, to the river, or, you know, you can go out there and fish, but everybody don't know how to duck hunt, you know. So when I talked to Travis, he was just like, you know, it's a campaign, waking up with the world, and it's just to get more people to actually look into duck hunting. So I was like, yeah, man, I'm all for it. So me and Travis, ever since then, we clicked just like that, man. So Travis is like family to me now. I hunted with Travis 2 or 3 times this year down south, and it was a good time, man. He puts on a good time. If anybody ever had any ideas of ever wanting to hunt Florida, I suggest them get in contact with Travis Thompson. You know what I'm saying? He is a really good guy. Him and Harry Huff, that's my man. That's my guy, man. Him and Waylon, his dog Waylon. I love those guys, man, down there. They put that for me. They did a whole lot for me. But the project, it's called Waking Up with the World. And it was a great campaign, man. Like, that's how I got in contact with Travis, and me, Travis, and Matt Pierce. Matt Pierce with P1 Cattle Farming. He is a great guy. All those guys are great guys, man.
That's awesome, man. And I couldn't not bring that up on the podcast, because if you watch that video, and if you go to, I think, you know, Brandon, your Facebook page or Instagram or anything like that, for you listening,
we'll post it. Yeah,
we'll share it after this on our social media too, just because it's such an amazing video, man. It's only 2.5-3 minutes long, but so many, you know, pictures worth 1,000 words, and that's never been truer with that video, you know.
No, dude, I'll say this, is if you watch that, I don't care who you are going to be, it's great. It's epic. It really is. I mean, the production on that, I don't know who the producer of that was, but they did a phenomenal job of telling a story.
Yeah, 601, Studio 601 out of Gainesville. They were the production crew on it. Those guys actually never did anything having to do with outdoors.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow.
That was their first ever outdoor production that they ever did. So, you know, from getting it from that perspective was different. You get what I'm saying? Like, from a lot of different pictures that they got, it was just different, but it was really cool. I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful to have that opportunity to work with Florida Wildlife and work with Studio 601, and to know Travis, to know Matt down there in Okeechobee, man. That was a blessing in itself at the very beginning of the year. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I'm pretty sure, I think Travis got a hold of me is because of the US Today article that came out that I did in February. If you go to my Instagram, it's in my link tree. So you'll see the US Today article, you'll see the Florida Wildlife campaign, and you'll actually see some videos from 247 Hunt. You'll see Odie's first retrieve video from 247 Hunt. It's all on link in my bio. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll definitely see it there.
That's great, man. And we'll be sure to put in the description of this video the links to all that stuff. And, you know, one thing I wanted to cover, you know, real quick is, Odie, right? And I've been following you since probably, I don't know, maybe, I guess that when that video came out is when Travis shared that video, and that's when I started following you. And it's been awesome to see the progression of Odie throughout the season, and you're so enthusiastic of posting your stuff about Odie. And I wanted to talk to you about Florida specifically with a hunting dog. Some of the challenges. You talk to people and they're like, well, I never hunt my dog in this kind of condition or that kind of condition. And I just wanted to kind of pick your brain on what kind of environment would you not hunt Odie in versus you would, to somebody that's just considering getting a dog to hunt in Florida.
Me personally, I had a lot of advice from my boy Lakevian Star.
Mm-hmm.
He helped me out tremendously with training Odie and giving me advice on, places to hunt, how to hunt. But one thing I will say is every dog is going to get acclimated to its environment. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in a colder place, your dog's going to get used to the cold. If you're in a hotter place and you got your dog outside, it's going to get used to that hot weather. That doesn't mean that you should have your dog outside running laps. You get what I'm saying? In 98-degree weather,
Mm-hmm.
But to take him hunting early till, me personally, what I do is either I don't hunt him at all because it's just too hot, and two, it's just too many gators. Or if I do hunt him like I did this season, the water has to be ankle to shin deep.
Okay.
And wherever I go, it cannot be near a deep channel. Because obviously, I don't know a lot of guys don't know, most of those gators are going to stay near the deep channels because they want to be in cool water. They're going to get up on the side in the bank and they're going to want to sun and bathe and, warm up. But they're going to stay near a channel. So I try to stay away from a deep channel or rim ditch, however you want to call it. And I always search for gators every time I go out. So I put my spotlight on. Whenever I'm throwing decoys, if I can't walk out there to my last decoy and literally, check to see, I'm not going to hunt there. Like, that's just personally. So wherever I'm hunting at, wherever my decoys are thrown, I have walked that entire area. I spotlight the whole area pretty much the entire morning up until the sun comes up. And, I know it's a safe area. I mean, it's gators in every body of water in Florida. So you just got to be very careful. You got to be cautious. In the heat, I don't suggest anybody hunt their dog in the heat, especially like dove season and stuff like that. Take your dog out, let them run, let them pick up a couple doves. Just make sure you keep your dog hydrated because your dog is going, can dehydrate way faster than what you think. You know what I'm saying? They can overheat and everything else. So that's just something that's really big with me. I don't hunt him or I don't train him too much during the summertime. I train him a lot, but the duration of time that I train him and the water that I train him in is very imperative because I won't train him in a pond where I know it's stagnant water and it's going to be hot water because when he get out, his temperature is going to rise. You get what I'm saying? So I'll make sure I hunt him in, an aerated pond, or I'll go out to the river or something like that and make sure that whenever we're done, he gets hydrated. He's somewhere where it's going to be cooler than outside. So if it's right inside of my garage, not my garage, but inside the house or wherever it is, I get cooled down to where he's not going to overheat, So that's just early season. But as far as like late season, I don't too much worry about the gators. It's a little cold, so they're not going to be as active. I've seen probably all this year, I've probably seen 3 or 4 gators, but they were nowhere near me. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you see them all the time, hunt at the refuge. The refuge, of course, they're protected, so you can't even do anything when you see them or if you see them unless unless they're, coming at you or whatever. But only when I'm leaving the refuge do I see them because it's midday and they're trying to sun. So you'll look and you'll drive along the rim ditch or whatever it is. And, you'll see them sitting on the side. And it's some big boys. 10, 11, 12 foot gators. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
gotta be careful. You know, I won't go into too much detail, and I got all the time in the world for y'all guys. But one day I was actually hunting with one of my good friends, Caleb, and we hunted an area in Florida, and he had his dog Chief, and we got to this area, man, and I put my light over there, and I seen just a bunch of little small eyes. I was like, "Damn, I know those ain't frogs." He was like, "No." You know what I'm saying? I laughed. It's crazy as hell. And I was like, "No, those ain't frogs over there." He was like, "Nah, but we going right there." I was like, "Where we going?" He was like, "Bro, we're going right there to that little grass patch right there." I said, "So we got to cross this rim ditch and then get right over there to that grass patch, exactly where we see all those eyes?" He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Listen, check this out." He was like, "If you see a bunch of small gators, believe that there's not a big gator around. So a gator between a foot, 2 foot, they're not going to be where we're 10-foot gator because they're so territorial. That big small gators out. And those small gators are still in a little pack. They're away from mom. They're big enough to be away from mom, but they're still in a little pack."
What a great point, dude.
That's interesting.
So he told me, he was like, "Listen, watch this. I promise to you he did this." He was like, "Watch. I'll walk over there. That water is literally not even past my boot. Like, that's just a bunch of mud and just a bunch of little puddles. It's not deep at all." He said, "When the sun comes up and that warms up, those little small gators are going to go to the channel." He said, "They're not even going to be worried about me. They're going to go to the bigger water where it's cool." I promise you, he walked over there and it was like he was hurting some sheep. Them jokers went straight to the big water. It amazed me. It truly amazed me. But then again, it gave me more respect for gators. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it taught me something about gators in Florida. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying this about gators all around the country. I'm not telling everybody to do this. You get what I'm saying? At all. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just, this is just something that I experienced and I seen from my own eyes.
Yeah.
So, not saying that I would do it because I'm not. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to take the chance. You know what I'm saying? If I get somewhere and I scout and I know it's birds there and I see some gators, I'm going somewhere else. Like, just point blank. But my buddy Caleb had been hunting here his whole life. Like, he's literally the best public land hunter that I know.
Wow.
And I don't say that lightly. When I say I don't say that lightly, I don't say that lightly. He is one of the best public land hunters all around that I know. Like, I'm talking about fishing.
What's his phone number?
I would not disclose that to you. I would not disclose that to you. But I will tell you, his Instagram is private. So
that tells you anything.
No, but what mad respect? I mean, obviously you have that mad respect just because of his knowledge to play that game.
Oh, that's my boy. You get what I'm saying? I just told him today, my plan is for next season. My goal was this season to get Odie to 100 birds. We got to 99, which I'm super ecstatic about. You know what I'm saying? It's his second year in the field, and he's still learning. I'm still learning. I'm not the best handler. He is the best dog, but I'm not the best handler. So, I'm learning off of my mistakes, but he did pick up 99 birds. We got between 2 to 4 more hunts before we call it quits because I have the veteran hunts this weekend, and then the following weekend I have the kids hunt. So I'll be able to take my stepson out there, and he'll be able to hunt, and I'll probably end up taking a couple of his friends, and just go out and let Odie just hang out and have fun and stuff. So it's definitely been a journey with Odie. It's definitely. I tell anybody that always, they look at bird dogs. Or they look at somebody with a bird dog and they think like, man, I want my dog like that. Can I have my dog like that? And then they get the dog and they put a little work in and, you see a little potential. And then a year later, however it may be, you get him in the hole and this joker won't do nothing. Well, you didn't put the work in, man. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a whole lot harder than what you see on Instagram. It's a whole lot harder than these guys saying, okay, This is how you get your dog to mark. This is how you get your dog to do this. This is how you get your dog to walk at heel. You get what I'm saying? It's
Sure.
a whole lot harder than that. But at the same time, the reward from seeing your dog that you solely trained yourself retrieve a bird is one of the most gratifying things on this earth.
You're like,
That's
man, I
awesome.
might know a little bit about what I'm doing.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, it definitely does. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, a lot of guys train dogs different ways. A lot of guys want their dogs to do this. A lot of guys, you know, some dogs are house dogs. Odie's a house dog. Odie is truly a house dog. Like, you know, 300 days of the year, 200 whatever days of the year, he's in my house. You get what I'm saying? Like, he
Yeah.
has a laid probably by my bed, and he roams the house. And then 60 days of duck season, he's a wild animal. You get what I can't expect my dog to be like thoroughly on point. Only reason because I haven't been trained to be thoroughly on point as a handler. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's certain things that you gotta. It's certain things when you get a bird dog and you want to have this bird dog on every hunt with you, and you know you want him to retrieve this bird and that bird. There's certain things that you got to learn as a handler. Like, okay, he can't go for every bird. He needs to honor this dog. He can't go on every hunt. Some days he needs to learn. You get what I'm saying? Some
Yeah.
days be fun days. Some days, you know, some days you need to be on top of them. Some days you just aren't on top of them because you aren't paying attention, but you don't understand how detrimental that is to him. You get what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
it's so much stuff that's involved in having a bird dog when you really truly want to get into it. And I'm not even talking about the hunt test side of it. Let's not get involved with that, okay? I don't even want to talk about that. That's like a whole nother world, my guy. Like, I'm not
Sure.
even, man, like those dogs right there are some well fine-tuned machines. And some of them are great family dogs as well. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love Odie. He's my first hunting dog. He's my first bird dog. You know, I've only been duck hunting 4 years, and I've had him for 2 of those years. So that's my boy. I wouldn't tell nobody not to get a bird dog. What I would tell people is, if you feel like you want to get a bird dog, or you want to get a lab, or you want to get a gun dog, however you want to put those words, if you feel like you want to invest into that dog, if you do not have 15 to 20 minutes, at least once to 3 times a day, do not get a bird dog.
That's a great
Why do I
point.
say that? Because you need to invest in the time that you got to put the time into the dog. If you can't put your dog in the truck and go to work with you when it's a pup, or you can't take that dog everywhere, or you know you got to put that dog in a kennel and leave him in a kennel for a certain amount of time, you really don't need a bird dog. You know what I'm saying? You want that dog to be your best friend. You want him to go to Walmart with you and not be able to bark. You want him to walk a hill. You want him to sit. You don't want him to lick on everybody, jumping on everybody. It takes time to have a dog like that. So if you don't have the 15 to 20 minutes, 2 to 3 times a day for that first year, I don't suggest people to get a bird dog. That's if you feel like training them yourself. Now, if you got somebody that can train them and can help you train them, yeah, get one. But if you want a dog that's going to be picking up birds his first year, I'm talking about 11, 12 months, you got to put that time in. That has to be your best friend. Like, you got to know, okay, if my dog eat this food, he need to go out in about 42 minutes. You know,
You gotta have it down like that.
Bro, that's so funny. That is so funny. You got to know him that well.
like, you know what I'm saying? If I put him out at about 45, you know what I'm saying?
42 minutes.
He needs to go out at 42 minutes. I'm not bullshitting you, man. It got to be a bond. It's a bond that you have, and you know what I'm saying? That bond can't be broken. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I love my boy. My boy is a chocolate. Everybody don't like chocolates. Chocolates are not the favorite in the dog world as far as bird dogs go. They are stubborn. They're hard-headed. They do and are fireballs. So it's hard to contain them. But at the same time, I wouldn't trade my boy for the world. Like, I'm glad, dog. Like, I'm glad I have a fired up dog. Like, Odie he's birdie. He is food driven. He is not gun shy whatsoever. I'm talking about, this was at like 12 weeks.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about a very, very small pup. When I had him at 9 weeks, his first week home, I got him home. He was 8 weeks. I let him chill, get acclimated to the house the first week, and everybody. By 12 weeks, Odie knew how to sit, stay, heel, and he knew place. All within like 3 or 4 weeks. Matter of fact, I'm talking.
Did you
about
have a job during that time?
I'm a barbershop
Hey,
owner.
man, he owns his business.
I know,
Yeah.
but I mean, he's like, listen, bro, you got the shop because I'm spending my life with this dog.
So backstory. The reason why I became a barber is the main reason I became a barber is because I wanted to be and not have a boss. I wanted to be able to get off when I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be able to go hunt and do whatever. Like, I realized that working for somebody, I didn't have the freedom that I really truly wanted to have. And to be able to hunt and to be able to fish and to be able to do all that stuff when it was like perfect timing. If I'm working for somebody, I can't do that because I got to ask them, hey, can I get off at this time? Hey, can I do this at this time? Hey, do I have enough days off? Not taking that away from nobody, because I respect everybody and how you make money and how you do it. But me personally, once I realized that, I was like, you know what? I need to just chase my dreams of being a barber. Being a barber is going to open up so much more opportunity for me that I'm just going to have to I just got to do it. It's going to take me a little while. I'm going to struggle for a couple years. I'm going to have to get my clientele up, but I've always wanted to be a barber since I was a little itty bitty boy. Seeing a barber pull out a big old knot out of his pocket and give you some change, and you wondered, like, dang, did you make that all day? Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. That's just nostalgic. You get what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
awesome, man.
I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. Going to a barbershop and seeing that barber pull out all that money, that big old fat wad.
He pulled out a mafia roll on you, bro.
Yeah, man, it might be 100 ones. You don't even know it. You get what I'm saying? But just for you to see that as a boy, you like, dang, man, that had me right there. So,
sure.
you know, I knew becoming a barber would open the door for me to be in the outdoors. So, you know, being a business owner in my town, my hometown that I grew up in, owning my barbershop, being one of like 2 Black-owned mortar and brick businesses in my town, man, I'm very proud. Very, very, I'm super proud of. You know what I'm saying?
Good for you, dude.
That's the reason I'm able to hunt like I hunt. That's the reason, like, I'm always on Instagram. That's the reason, like, I'm always in there, because I make my own time.
You've created your freedom.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. And I tell people my main thing, and, you know, I won't talk too much either, but one thing I will tell people is this: chase your happiness. Whatever makes you happy, whatever makes those butterflies in your stomach and your chest, that's what you need to chase. Whenever you was a little boy or a little girl, however it may have been, and you were like, man, that's what I want to be when I grow up. Well, what's stopping you? You grown now. You got enough money.
Amen.
You got enough knowledge. You got enough time to go do it. So why aren't you doing it? You're doing everything.
Dude, preach it.
You miserable. You get what I'm saying?
Preach
but
it.
You literally be doing what you want to do as a child. This is what I want to do as a child. I'm doing it as a grown man. So, you know, I tell people that all the time, and some people think I'm bullshitting, but I'm really not. You get what I'm saying? I'm really telling the truth. Like, I always wanted to do what I'm doing now as a little kid. I just didn't know I would be so far into the outdoors. As far as being a barber, I always wanted to be a barber, but in the outdoors, man, this is a blessing. And I just want to be able to be a great example for the generation after me. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want them to look and be like, man, look at that. Man, that dude tatted up. Man, he got a dog. Man, that dude cool as hell. You know what I'm saying? Who is that
Right.
guy? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
be an inspiration.
who doesn't want that? You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just, it's a blessing to be in the position that I am in today. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's so awesome, man. You know, as we're moving forward, you know, we don't want to keep you all night, but I want to know what what kind of, you don't have to release any areas or names, but you got a pretty good strategy dialed up for this veteran weekend, veteran active duty weekend?
Man, listen, I'm not secretive about nothing. I'm going to be at Merritt Island. I will and I'll be even more specific.
Oh, might have lost you there for a sec. Right when you said I'll even be more specific, I haven't been able to hear you since then.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
But it's funny that break came right in when you go, I'll even be more specific.
That's
nothing.
funny. That's funny.
But anyway,
like
go
that.
ahead. We'll throw a commercial in there, but go ahead.
I'll be at Merritt Island, man. I'm gonna end up going out to Merritt Island. My plan was to take a veteran out that never been duck hunting before. Yep. I had a lot of guys hit me up, but they've already been duck hunting before, and you know that wasn't my plan. So if I got Howard Douglas, who got me into duck hunting or got me into hunting, he's never duck hunted before. So
wow.
I'm my best to get him out there either Saturday or Sunday. I want to get him out there, get him on his first duck, because it would just be great. I got his sons in the duck hunting, and to make it even cooler, well, this is crazy. Another story. My buddy Trey, which is one of the twins, which is Howard's sons, they shot their first band this year. He shot his first band this year. His first year duck hunting, shot his first model duck. Ain't that crazy?
Wow. A model band?
A model banded duck.
Dude, I know a lot of people that have been chasing those for a long time.
He hit it his first year. Last year he went to hunt. He had an accident, and he had a hunting accident. Actually, he fell out of his tree stand, man. He did, and had a real bad accident. Wasn't able to hunt the year before, so I was able to hunt with Trey. So Savion hunted this year, and when I tell you, those two boys right there are some real hunters. You know what I'm saying? So this weekend, hopefully, I can get their dad out there and get him on his first duck.
Man, good stuff. Good stuff, man. Brandon, I mean, I could talk to you all night, man. I mean, I could, bro, because you know some of us, and I'm not trying to lessen what you are to the sport, but some of us are just like you were explaining in your story about the first time you met the guys at 24/7. You shared this addiction and this brotherhood that you're like, dude, and those guys saw it in you. They were like, this brother is as addicted as we are. And let's get on the train and let's go, you know? And I just love that about you, dude. It's been a great experience having you on here tonight. I hope to God that we can have you on again and, you know, catch up with you. Tristan?
Yeah, for sure.
Man, you know, this is probably coming up on like our 43rd or 44th podcast, and we've been doing them just about weekly since last April, man. And you know, not very often do we say this is one of our favorites, but like I would put this in like, not, you know, discrediting anybody else that's been on this podcast. We love them all, but this has just been an awesome podcast, man, and it's definitely one of my favorites. And
absolutely,
thank you for being so authentic and, you know, just telling it how it is with a lot of things, man. It's been a great time tonight. Yeah,
man. And if there's anything we can do to help promote what y'all are doing and your mission, let me know. Let Tristan know, you know, we're going to be right there as brothers to have your back, you know, we got that veteran thing going on. So we already got each other. We're already brothers, you know?
Yeah. Always, man. Always. I can't wait to meet you guys. I'm glad that you guys had me on. I'm glad you had enough time. I can talk all night, all day. That's I am, man. I like to spread the positivity and spread a good word, you know? Some people need to hear it, you know?
Absolutely.
But in on the podcast. Maybe next season we can catch up and we can talk a little bit about, have a little recap or something like that. However it may be, it doesn't matter. I'm always available. I'm always available for you guys. I won't say always available for everyone.
Well, I'm gonna say this: if I'm ever burning down 95 and I need a buddy, I'm gonna be giving Smyrna a call.
Man, call me. All you gotta do is call me, man.
Yeah.
If I'm not at the shop, I'm at the house. If I
might even get a fresh cut. I might even get a fresh cut. And here's the best part: if you charge like $25 a head, half of my head's bald, bro. So you get so much profit on that. It's unbelievable.
Man, I clean as a whistle, man.
You cut Tony's hair in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, it'll take it'll take 3 minutes. But I'll tell you what, you go to cut Tristan's hair, you better have a shrub trimmer.
Dude.
I got it, man. I get y'all cleaned up. Y'all ever in my area, anybody ever in my area, New Smyrna Beach, man, you come see me at my shop, Easy Living Studio.
Plug the name of your barbershop real quick, because we're connected with a good amount of people
in that
Florida,
area.
Man. Yeah.
So my barbershop is Easy Living Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram is exactly that, Easy Living Studios. Easy with a Z, EAZY, and living without a G. So EAZYLIVIN Studios. That is my Instagram. I am located at 536 Canal Street in beautiful New Smyrna Beach, Florida, downtown Canal Street. So anytime anybody's in the area, you can more than welcome to stop by the shop. My shop is laced with outdoors. I got all kind of taxidermy stuff. I got history on the walls. It's a cool place to be. So anybody, you guys, anybody, stop by, come see me. You can always book an appointment. You can go on my link tree and you can see where to book there if you ever want to come in the future, So yeah, man, it's a great time. Come to the shop.
Dude, we're always burning down 95 and
let's do a podcast at the shop. How about that?
Yeah, dude, let's do it.
Man.
Let's do it. Hey, we'll have you on the mic while you're giving Tristan a fresh cut.
Listen, let's do it. Don't tempt me with a good time now.
Bro, we will hit you up, and at the very worst, we're going to sit down, have a cup of coffee, have some breakfast, or just meet in person, even if it's for 5 minutes, if that's all we got. But we look forward to it.
We look forward to it. I'm glad you guys called. I'm glad to be on.
All righty, Brandon. Well, thank you so much, man. You have a great rest of your night.
I've been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I ought to slow down, standing in the pouring rain.